So let's say now this is a list of 100 and you can't keep looking manually, which is not efficient anyway. I'm just doing this to show you that the so specifically for NTP, you are going to say, give me the list, and then this time you are grepping. What are you grepping for? NTP. There are some, the reason I didn't do this right away is I'm assuming that you do not know the name of the configuration file. But now that you know the name of the configuration, at least you have an idea. You could do NTP. Even if you don't have, you could use wildcard. Well, let's not complicate it. NTP.com. All right. NTP grep. All right. So it gives you that one specifically, and you don't have to scroll through 700 files to get what you're looking. All right. So I'm deliberately revising all this so that you see the relevance of all the commands that you have made. All right. So this is the configuration file. So every time you install a service has its own configuration file. Sometimes it's necessary to go in there and see specifically what you want to achieve and put it in the configuration file. In this case, let's go in there. And then because this file belongs to root, so you need to be root to be able to access this file. All right. So whether use sudo or we are root. Fortunately, we are already root, so we just go vi or nano or whatever you want to use. And what? This file.
The name of the file.
First time, you are going to see what a configuration file is. This is a configuration file. This is where you'll be working most of the time. Configuration. All right. So let's just take a look. When you have a configuration file like this that you want to edit, even though you are not a programmer or a coder, you should understand that the hash sign means that this line is a comment. It's not a command for the configuration. It's just a comment for your own understanding as the user. Record of the frequency of the system clock. So NTP is actually a clock. It's a clock. It's a clock that you connect to. All right. And so on and so forth. Blah, 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 blah. So these are the commands. These are the configurations that the service work according, right? That's a command, this is a command, this is a command. Don't mess up your configuration file. In fact, what is advised at this level is that you back up your configuration file so that in case you mess up the original one, you can always call the backup. Done that before? Okay, I'll show you how to do it. All right. But in this particular case, let me just show you how to back up configuration file. All right. So let me exit without saving, quit back. All right. ls -la. So this is the name of the configuration file. So to back this up, I'm going to say copy this file. In other words, make a copy of that file and then name the new one, this file .back, for example. All right. So now I have two copies of the same file. Original copy, backup copy. So since we are still learning, if I mess this up, I can always revert to this. How do I revert to the old one? Reverting to the old one will simply mean coming back here and saying move, or I can do copy or move and do copy again. Then this old one now to the new one. Okay, let's do it. So let's delete this file. Let's delete this file because I messed it up. I put a comma where I shouldn't have put it. So I'll now say remove the file, right? Remove ntp.com. Dots. All right. Are you sure you want to remove that? Okay. This is a configuration file. It's not a good practice at all, but lots of practice. Yeah. All right. So now that that file is gone, I'll now make my backup the new NTP config. How do I do that?
Move.
Copy or move. Yeah. So copy. That's this way you are using your copy and your copy the old one. I mean the backup one.
Back.
And make it the current one.
No.
Awesome. That's it. So if I now do grep, I'm going to see that the file that I deleted is there. All right. So that's how to back up your configuration. It used to be an example. Configuration, your files generally, but specifically is useful for configuration. Now let's go into the configuration file via ntp.com. I'm looking for a shot. Oh, I'm already in.
This is new. This is another one.
Let me exit. Okay, so let's go back. Exit. Don't save anything. Quit. Bang. All right. So yeah, this is new. So what I want is to vi this file. Vi that file.
ntp.com.
All right. So nothing's really necessary to change here, but there's no need to waste time. No, this is old school. It's just for the purpose of showing you how to come into a configuration file. I'm not going to change anything here. It'll be a waste of time trying to shift. All right, so I escape. After, if I have to edit anything, I escape. If I want to save, I say save. If I don't want to save, I don't say W. But in this case, I don't save. All right. So that is how to go into a configuration file and modify a configuration file. Don't worry, the next you'll be able to edit one or two configuration files. But this one being the first one, I just showed you how to go into a configuration file. All right. So the next thing you want to do after you have installed a service and you have modified the configuration file you must restart that service for Linux to be aware that you have installed that service and be able to work with it. All right. What service have we just installed? NTTP. No, NTP.
NTP.
So to restart this particular service, to restart service, generally the command is systemctl. Be using this a lot because you'll be installing those services a lot. Restart or start. Whether you say start or you say restart is the same thing. Systemctl start. What's the name of the service? NTTP. So
NTP.
NTP. Usually the name of the service will come with D. NTP D. All right.
Okay.
The name of the service will come with D, meaning, almost general. I think one or two cases where it doesn't come with D. All right. I told you the meaning of D. It means a service running in the background. So we say, I have installed NTP. I have configured NTP. Linux, be aware, restart the system so that you can grab a copy and be aware of it. So I press enter and it is done.
Okay.
If I now say systemctl status of this service, NTTPD, sorry, why am I getting NTPD is going to tell me that yes, you do have a service installed and it is now active. So this is how you know the status of the service. All right. You restarted it. You started the service, and that's why it's active. Next time, remind me not to check the status before we. All right, remind me to check the status before we, so that you see when it's not active before we start the service. All right. So if this was your permanent system, and you wanted to make sure that, this service would always come up anytime the system starts, so that you don't have to manually start it, then you want to say systemctl enable service. What's the name of the service? NTTP. So this one starts the service. This one ensures that the service is now permanently on, so that every time you start the system, you don't have to repeat start. You automatically start the system. All right. So now we have enabled the service, and Linux is now aware, and the service is now on. Yeah. So that is it. You have installed, configured, and enabled the NTP service in Linux.
Hello?
Yeah.
So are there some times when there are some systems that you don't need to install the NTP, that it might be on the computer you're using? Is there any scenarios of such that you don't need to
just find out?
check?
Just find. We cannot generalize. Just check. Is it already installed or not? Remember how to check?
Yeah.
Our repository manager minus
RPM.
and then check. Rep for. Then what is it?